Are there any pressing questions? That's what this is for, vocalists. Are there any pressing questions? No? Come on, anything pressing? Yep.
How do you hear yourself when everything's louder than your monitor on tape?
Anybody else? Vocal? Uh-huh. Okay. Anybody else?
What is your method for planning or preparing for a show?
Anybody else? How do you care for your work? You have to speak louder.
How do you care for your work?
How do you care for your work? Anybody else?
Yeah, on the same lines, when you're in like circumstances where you like have little sleep, you're on tour or whatever, how do you care for your voice when you have to push it?
Anybody else?
Yeah, how do you connect with others?
Are you vocalist? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody that's both? You're the answer. Okay, Cass.
Oh, I actually know.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you go about playing and improvising at the same time when you're improvising on one
Can you be
instrument?
more specific? Because that's like.
Basically, how do you accompany yourself while you're improvising at the same, like what are your
You mean like,
techniques for that?
are you asking, how do you sit down at the piano and sing together and comp? Or are you, what are you asking?
Just like more so like theoretically techniques of how you kind of divide your brain into two, like,
Okay, so
company
this is
and also
pertaining to
improvise.
improvisation, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think maybe I can clarify that you mean like the physical act of like playing the instrument while having to like parse the separate action of singing at the same time. Well, it's two contrasting parts, and you know, if you have to like maintain a particular rhythm part on the instrument and then sing at the same time.
Is that what you're saying?
Is that?
Sort of, yeah, just kind of more like in the like mental part of it, of like how to
Y'all
think
saying
about
two
it all at
different
the same
things.
time.
That's two different things to me.
I was just trying to clarify.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm answering the question. Okay, so you're asking about mental capacity, mental space while you're improvising as a vocalist?
Mhm. Yeah, like what to think about when you have to think about like playing the progression and at the same time improvising over it.
Okay.
Theory.
Basically what to do, like how do you improvise? Okay, cool. Cass?
I had a question
Yeah.
for both. I just wanted to know some things that you've done personally to like develop your artistry.
Okay, cool. Anybody else?
I do have a question for the, both. What do you recommend to prioritize when someone is comping for themselves, and also,
On which instrument?
I guess, piano,
Piano,
and
voice?
then singing?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Anybody else? Got a big smile, I like that. Does that mean you're gonna be a cat that answers the first question? What's your question?
How do you balance your influences and find your own voice?
Oh, that's a good one. Come on. Yeah.
I've been thinking about something lately that's kind of like a little philosophical. It's like, what's your personal way of like dealing with, I guess in my experience, I have some self-doubt a lot of the time, and, lack of confidence, and trying to figure out how to get through that and get to where you're always, confident and like putting it where it goes, where you want it to go.
Okay.
To add on to that, how do you feel confident in performing, knowing that you're always still learning and that, you're not a finished product? How do you present a finished product knowing that you're still not where you want to be?
To kind of add on to that too, so like, if you're like looking at a recording thing, like a snapshot in time of your performance, I guess, how do you like relate what you're working on now? If you have like a performance you looked at a few years ago, can you like look back at it and try to learn from it now and sort of try to like review yourself and analyze your own stuff?
Okay, any last requirement?
What's be listening for when you're accompanying vocals?
Algo más? You not mess this up, I cannot pay for it. Okay. Did you raise I'm sorry, did you raise your hand?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
I was just wondering, historically, who were some of your influences for you to be considered like a great jazz artist or a notable jazz artist?
Second part of that question, I don't really understand, but
Which one was it?
you said for me to be noticeable.
Uh,
I don't know if my influences have anything with me being noticeable, because they're not here.
no, just your past, who did you listen to growing up to
Okay.
influence who you are now?
Okay.
Didn't you ask something about like, profile or like maintaining?
What was your question?
How to play actively and with
Huh?
how to play actively and with intention, kind of without stepping on the vocals.
Okay, who you play?
Piano.
Okay, cool. All right, let me do this little presentation and then we'll get to this. Some of these questions are going to be answered right now. And then some of them we'll get to them later. How much time do we have?
Much time as you want. 3:15, I think, is really our, 3:15, 3:30.
I mean, I'm staying where you are.
I don't know if the volume is up.
It's not dead, it's just not, I don't think the internet is working. Yeah.
I think we said 6.
I'm gonna try to use my, hotspot.
Here's the volume.
We in there.
No?
We in there.
Oh, good. Cool.
I just don't know.
You might have to slide to the other screen, I think.
It's not even,
If you minimize it and then drag it to the left and right.
oh, yeah.
There it is.
There she.
Hello. Okay, so then what do
Just keep dragging it to whatever side
I
that is.
lost it.
Oh, no, you got it. Just look at there. Look at there. You got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just dragged that bad boy all the way over.
There's some technicians over there.
Lord have mercy.
Use your computers, there you go.
Yeah, my TV does the same thing.
Yeah. I look at the computer.
Alright, cool.
It's just wonky on it.
So, if you don't have pen and paper, then I don't know what you came here today for. It's not gonna be that kind of masterpiece. The Jazzmeia point approach, which is basically what I came up with. And this is like my blueprint for everything. So I'm gonna answer most of those questions up there. Most of them, but some of them won't be answered. Okay? Who am I? This doesn't tell you who I am, it just tells you who I am in the industry, right? Some of the things that I've done, where I've taught master classes, the different awards that I've won and been nominated for, blah, blah, blah. These are different places that I've taught this master class since the start of the pandemic. Except for this, the last one, that's a big one, which is because of China. That happened before the pandemic. All right, so what are we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about something that I like to call the 4 elements of focus. It can take as long as you want to, it can take 10 minutes, it depends on your questions. The second thing we're gonna talk about is business structure. That is gonna take 30 minutes, but I think that that's important because today, a lot of musicians just see themselves as musicians and don't really take the business structure serious. So I do want to share that with you today, okay? All right, story, song, stage, and style. Those are the 4 elements of focus. That's what we're gonna focus on today. Story, the art of storytelling. So that's gonna answer this question right here for you. It's gonna answer this. It's gonna answer this. It's gonna answer this. It's gonna answer this. It's gonna definitely answer this. It's gonna answer this. It's gonna answer this. 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 Yeah, so 1, 2, we'll have 3 questions to answer by the time we're done with this. Okay? All right. These things are important not just for the vocalist, but they're important for everybody else too, right? If you come behind me and you playing piano and you don't know the lyrics to the song, you're not gonna know where I am if you don't know those lyrics. So that's important, right? Stage, being comfortable, you just asked me that question. In your stage presence. Style, how to present yourself to the world. Come on, Cursor. All right, number 1, the art of storytelling. It's very important that you memorize the lyrics. And then you develop your own formula for how you connect with the lyrics. For each stanza that I sing, because it is not my own story, I have a different scenario in my life that aids me in telling the story in my own narrative. So for example, if I'm singing something like The Nearness of You, my personal story is the story of me leaving my children behind to go on the world, go tour, right? So as I'm singing, it's not the pale moon that excites me, that thrills or delights me. I'm not thinking about a person who I want to engage with in a platonic manner. I'm thinking about, dang, it's not the pale moon that excites me. I just miss your sound of you giggling. I miss you asking me telling me all these corny mommy jokes. I miss you asking me to tuck you in at night. I'm thinking about something that relates to my life so that when I step on the stage and I sing to my audience, I'm not lying. Because I could be singing someone else's song, but whose story is it? Right? So this is why I'm saying the art of storytelling. So the first thing I like to do is recite the lyrics as a poem. Not the pale moon that excites me, that thrills or delights me. Oh no! No, it's just the nearness of you. And when you're in my arms and I feel you so close to me, all my wildest dreams come true. I need no soft lights to enchant me. You would only grant me the right to hold you so tight, my little sugar booger. I'm thinking about my babies, right? So you have to figure out what story it is that you need. It doesn't matter if you're playing saxophone, you're playing guitar, it's still important. You know Train knew those lyrics because of the way he was playing it. He knew the changes and hey! Oh, man! Oh, shit! Oh, silly. Oh, man.
All right.
No,
I got to get some knowledge.
Okay, all right.
Get some knowledge too.
Wow. All right. Taking me back, man. That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, I do. Mission.
So, like I was saying, it doesn't matter who you are, what instrument you play, you gotta know the lyrics, right? Because that, it gives you room to play whatever you want to play if you know the lyrics. You know where to play in between, where not to play. We're asking how to not step on somebody's toes. If you know those lyrics, let him or her finish that phrase before you try to play anything, right? If you know those lyrics, you're good, right? It's just like when you first start learning how to play 2/5, so all of those tunes that have 2/5. You gotta understand how to get from the 2 to the 5 to the 1 before you can play 3/6, 2/5, 1. Before you can play whatever turnaround. You gotta know this, the basic 2/5, 1. It's the same with this. You gotta know the lyrics in order to be able to tell the story and communicate, right? If you're a bassist and you're playing with the vocalist out front and you're just plucking those notes out, if you know, even if the vocalist sings a different note for the melody, if you're listening to those lyrics and you know the lyrics, it's easier for you. Everything can help you. The lyrics can help you, the melody can help you, the phrasing can help you. All of that's very important. But those lyrics are like the glue that sticks all of that together because it's a story. This music is about telling stories, you know? If you think about back in the day, there were no cell phones, there were no computers. So how do you project? How do you get your story across to people who don't know, right? Right? You're not just acting, it's a real story. It's coming to life, right? So, okay, let's go to the next one. 2, sing your own song. Sing your own song. Making the story relatable to your audience through your own personal experience. We just talked about that. Allows trust and the letting go of fears for both you and the listener. Personal experience takes patience, but allows trust and the letting go of fears for both the listener and the audience and the artist. Rewrite the whole song lyric for phrase by phrase. Okay. So let's take something like, what did I put? I remember you. You're the one who made my dreams come true. Few kisses of love. I never forget your love when we sealed it with a kiss and our swoon. That's what I wrote there. I know it doesn't make sense, but what did I just say? If you know the melody and you know the lyrics, you dig? So when you're playing this, but you're thinking this. And if you're thinking it, you can take me wherever you want me to go. But if you're just like, I remember you, I ain't trusting you with my soul. You ain't taking me, I don't know where we going. You have to know these lyrics, and then you have to put it into your own so that you can tell whatever you want to tell. A lot of the times, when I'm singing my songs, like last night, I was singing, what song was it? Willow Weep for Me. And I started to really go into a personal experience that I had, and I told y'all, but you guys don't know what the personal experience is, but you could feel it, right? Could you feel that? That's what you want. You want them to be able to understand what you're saying personally without telling your whole business out on the bandstand. If that's okay with you, right? If you can do that. Now, some scenarios you don't want to use. If your cat died yesterday and you're going to be crying on the stage because you're telling people about your cat dying, it's not a good moment. Just wait. If somebody broke your heart this morning and you want to get up there and tell your story about how your heart's been broken, but you know you're going to break down and cry, don't use that scenario. You know, you got to be strong enough to be able to carry yourself through, okay? So phrase by phrase is how I would write this out. Just like this. I remember you. You're the one who made my dreams, so verbal with this, come true a few kisses ago. And then underneath that, let's say if this is notebook paper, that would be the first line. And then instead of, if you can't make this be on the first line and then this be underneath it, then write the next phrase and then the next phrase and then the next phrase. I have tablets upon tablets upon tablets of every standard I know with this here happening. I've been doing this for about 15 years, so I know it works. I'm not just telling you to do an exercise. This is my blueprint. Three, stage stretches. What do you need that makes you 100% comfortable to be your whole entire self? Not just a piece of you as a musician that we're gonna know or that your friends know, but your whole entire self. Meaning no matter what happens, no matter how somebody looks at you if you hit a wrong note, how can you be completely comfortable with everything that you are and bring that and offer that to the music? The music deserves that, right? We deserve to allow ourselves to be ourselves and be truthful in that music. Where you're gonna be truthful with your story, because you're gonna be telling your own story, whatever story that is, no matter if it's positive or negative. You're gonna be true because you're gonna memorize those lyrics. But now let's work on this. Can we understand the relationship between you and the artist, or you as the artist, the band, and the audience? Artist makes band comfortable, band makes artist comfortable, and the audience is entertained. I like to think of that as the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But we all know that the Holy Spirit has to be a mother because you can't make a baby without a woman and a man. So I think of it as Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So if I'm looking at myself as the Holy Spirit, who would be the Father? In my band, in this situation, what would be the Father? And we got Father, we got Son, and we got the Ruach. That's the Hebrew word for spirit, right? We got Kodesh. Who would be the Father?
Artist.
No. If I'm the mother, or the Ruach,
Oh, you're the artist is the
artist,
spirit.
and
the father is the band.
the Father is, who said
The
that?
band.
Yes, that's right.
And you have to make the son comfortable.
So who is the Son?
The
Yes.
audience,
The audience. When the mother and the father work together in the household, the children are happy. The children are happy. When your mother and father got a divorce, how'd you feel? Or if they ever did? I know with my parents, I was like, man, what? Right? But they cool now. Well, my dad died a couple years ago. But they were cool after they divorced, and I was happy too. So once the band and the artist does everything that they need to do together, the audience is happy. That means artists, are your charts legible? Can we read this shit? Because if we can't, we not happy. Have we got paid? Did you pay us? Because if you didn't pay us, we're not playing the gig right. You don't want him to come up and have to worry about, okay, well, I'm playing this gig, but am I going to get paid for this gig? Even if you have to barter. Hey man, this gig is paying $40, but I'm gonna make you some beignets. I'm gonna make you some salmon croquettes. I'm gonna hook you up with something, right? Something, right? Don't just make people feel like that you need them, right? It's almost like it is. You're like the CEO of the company. If your employees are not happy, then how can your clients be, your customers? You ever went to some fast food restaurant or restaurant, you're like, damn, this your job, not mine. Why you have the attitude? Maybe they're not getting paid right. That CEO not paying them right. Maybe they're working too many hours. You don't know. But this has to be right. And this relationship has to be right before your audience can get everything that they need. So that means changes too. Are you playing the right changes? Are y'all playing the same changes in the song? Are y'all agreeing or disagreeing on stage? What are the ways you think you can make your band feel comfortable? Anybody?
You already said making sure that they get paid.
What else?
Establishing more of a personal relationship.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Pay them again if you want to.
Pay them again, okay?
Give them some creative freedom.
Creative freedom, y'all heard that? Anybody else?
Yeah, creative freedom, but at the same time providing like a framework or something to operate within, so that you're not like overwhelmed by freedom. Total.
Give them instruction.
Yeah.
Yep. Anybody else? I want to hear from the vocalist. What do you think? How can you make your band feel 100% comfortable so you can be 100% comfortable? What are some things you can do? I want to hear from the piano players. What are some things we can do better? What can we do better as vocalists?
Communicate what you want.
Communication, yes, absolutely. Anybody else?
You only want to hear from vocals or?
Oh, I'm saying anybody now. I like that though. I think in these kinds of settings, especially when there's a mix of everybody, I think there should be spokespersons for each instrument to say, we need this, like he just said. I asked him for vocalists, what y'all want to hear? He said communication. Y'all don't know how to say what you need, what you want.
Yeah, I was gonna say, a lot of times I experience some more experienced vocalists, they don't have any nomenclature about any way to communicate quickly what they're talking about.
Right. Yep. Okay, anybody else? Bassists, what can we do as vocalists to be better? Drummers. I'm gonna throw this mic at you. Come on, yeah, I'm asking you personally now. Come on. What?
Travis, you're up.
Come on, Travis.
What I would say is, from a drummer perspective, being clear on where you, like, your vision of the tune. Because I feel like like your vision, not just like, oh, can you give me like this type of feel, but like your whole vision of the tune gives me like a broader aspect of where shit, like how to kind of filter my ideas to fit the vision of what the tune is supposed to be and the effect it's supposed to have.
Okay, when you say filter your ideas,
Like,
how do you know what your ideas are?
and which area to think, like to how to approach the music.
Okay.
You know?
Are you talking specifically like maybe like a genre or feel or vibe?
There's, like the vibe of like how should I approach it,
Okay. So that falls kind of into the communication category too.
Being like a good listener.
Good listener, listen well. Okay, cool. All right. Once you are comfortable, learn how to truly convey your ideas. Mirror work. So when I first, I think I was, let's see, I moved to New York 18. Yeah, I moved to New York 17. And I went to Germany and Russia for the first time when I was 20. So I came up with this exercise I'm about to talk to you about called mirror work. As a little girl, I didn't grow up, hello, welcome, come in. You're coming into one of the deepest parts of the master class. The whole class ain't about to be about this. I just want you to know this is about to be deep though. So mirror work is an exercise that I came up with when I came back from Germany, when I came back from Russia. My whole life on television, I didn't really see black women that looked like me. Hell, I didn't even see many women that looked like me in television. And so I lacked so much confidence. I thought I was the ugliest thing on the planet because I didn't really see many people like me. And I'm like, damn, this is weird, right? But I was young. And so when I first went to, it took me some time. After a while, I started to love myself, but it took me some time. And so after I went to Germany, this was the first time that I had a serious realization of like, yo, it doesn't matter what happens on the planet, you're still gonna have to be who you are. What happened was I was touring with a cat who had me as a sideman, but I was the leader. It was really weird. It was on some grimy stuff. So I had gone over there, and the shows turned out to be great. The audience loved us. We had a good time. But as soon as the show was over, there was a line to purchase CDs. And the way that my table works is, you purchase on this side, and you come down this side, and I sign it for you. That way you can handle all the money over there, buy your shirts, your CDs, whatever. And when you come to me, then you get signed it, maybe I'll take a picture with you, whatever. They had the whole line over here, and they were wanting me to sign the CD, but they didn't want me to touch the CD. They wanted me to sign it. The tour manager I had at the time was from London. So he was a white man from England, and he would come over and put the CD up like this, or vinyl, or whatever we had, and I would have to only sign it but not touch it. If I touched it, they wouldn't buy it. This was in 2013. I was 20 years old. And when I went over there, sometimes the people who were at the luggage counter didn't want to check my luggage in. They would check the whole band because the rest of the band was white. But for me, they didn't want to check my luggage in. They asked me so many questions. Who are you? Why are you going here? Why do you look like this? What are you doing over here? You know, they would ask me so many questions. I got frustrated. But I realized, you know what? My name is Jazzmeia Horn. So the Most High Creator put me on this planet to do something in specific, in particular, that I'm gonna have to live with. So this is only the beginning. So how am I going to be able to prosper and know that even though I'm going there, they still need to see the light, because they haven't. Like I told you, on TV I didn't see myself. So they damn sure ain't seen me, the real me. They just have these preconceived notions of who I am because of what society says I am. So how am I gonna deal with that? You gotta eat that, baby, them changes. You gotta play those changes. How? So I decided to get in the mirror. And every part of my body, every part of my face, when I'm singing, when I'm reciting, no matter what it is that I'm doing, I learn to appreciate it. Because there is no mirror out there. Them treating me the way that they treat me is the reflection. So no matter what, you ask this question, and this is answering your question. You remember what you asked me last night? You remember?
Yes.
Okay, this is the answer to that question. Because they're not gonna lift you up. Nobody's gonna lift you up. You gotta lift yourself up. And that's it, and that's all. Like, boom, bam, that's it, right? So that mirror work. That way, when you go to that audience and you sing something and your face may look weird because you're trying to get out a specific note, you're okay. You know how you look in the mirror because you've been practicing. When you talk and you speak to people, you know how you look because you've been practicing. So you get in the mirror and you do step one. You remember step one? What's step one? Recite the lyrics of the poem. Fly me to the moon and let me sail among the stars. Right? But you gotta be comfortable in that. Whatever that is. If you gotta sit there with your saxophone and play recite the lyrics and then play it and then recite and then play. You got to. You gotta stick a little mirror up here and sit here and play. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you're gonna get comfortable. All right, let's let's move on to number 4. How to be, go back, wait a minute. Sorry. Style. Everybody's got style. How to present yourself to the world as a musician and as a brand. Now that's very important because in today's society, we just play music, we get up there, we look good, and that's cool. That's not what this industry is about, especially nowadays. You gotta have something about yourself. Most of the club owners, if you don't have a certain amount of followings on your Facebook, Instagram, they're not even hiring you because all they think about selling is tickets. They don't care about where you're gonna sleep. They don't care about what you're gonna eat. They want tickets to their show. So we need to understand how to present ourselves in order to be able to operate in business, in commerce. That's what we do as artists, okay? Focus on building your brand. with what makes you uniquely you. We already talked about that. So once you understand those lyrics, once you understand your story and how to tell your story, the next thing to do is to be able to present that story. Okay? Begin by asking yourself, what is my purpose? What do I want to do? Do I want to one day own a jazz club? Do I want to be a festival owner? Do I want to be a sideman? Do I want to be the leader? Do I want to be an educator? Whatever the answer is, then you have to go and figure out, what are you hoping to obtain from that? And how do I get to that point? Let's talk about getting to that point. Okay? So, in 2015, I won the month competition, was signed to Concord Records. My first record was nominated for a Grammy. Second record came out 2 years later, or a year later, nominated for a Grammy, all that stuff that was up here in the beginning that I showed you. All those accolades happened from just that second album. Third record, I said, okay, Concord, I'm ready to do my record. They said, we don't have a budget. I said, well, you're a record company. You're in the business of making records. You have a budget. I know you have a budget. They said, well, the pandemic has happened. We're not bringing any new artists to our company, and we're also not just giving people this amount of money that you're asking for. And I'm like, invest in me. I have a whole infrastructure now. Invest in me. They said no. I said, okay, I closed the door. I went to Bird. I went to EMC. I went to Blue Note. You know what Blue Note told me? You make your own dresses. You wrote a book. Let's do a 360 deal. Y'all know what that means? Raise your hand if you don't know what that means. That means, come be my slave.
Yes.
That means, let me take 70 to 80% of what you make from your dresses, and what you make from your book, and what you make from your teaching, and what you make from this. And then, maybe just then, I'll record your record for you and still charge you a specific percentage and still own the rights to the licensing in perpetuity. When I say you have to build your brand and you have to understand this right here, that's important. Because if you don't, you fall for anything. Okay? So what did I do? I wrote a book called Strive From Within, the Jazzmeia Horn Approach, and everything that you have learned so far is in that book. So you just got the book for free, almost. Right? I wrote the book, started teaching women from all over the world what I'm teaching you today. Personally, like one-on-one from my computer, because we were in a pandemic, and it helped. That pandemic helped me. Within the first 2 months, I had 2,500 students, and they were all paying $2,000, right? And all of those students helped me to do this right here. What I went to their record company and asked them to do for me. So now I own the licensing and publishing. How many of you have seen Power, the show? You've seen a little bit of it? Some of my music is in it. How many of you have seen, what's the other one? About Chicago.
The Shy?
Yeah, The Shy. Some of my music is in that. How many of you have seen, what's the other one? I haven't seen any of them. I just got the license. Yeah, I know it. Yeah. The point that I'm making is that you sovereignty. You don't need someone to help you do something. You can do it yourself. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. And then I started my own record company. All right, this is how I did it. Understanding what business structure is, first of all. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
If you're gonna touch on this in a moment, then go ahead, but the question that I have now is, you said that you've placed your stuff with sticky deals.
Uh-huh.
How do you even get that?
We're gonna talk about that soon. Yep. Okay, so what is business structure? The definition of business is the practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. How you make your money. Okay. Structure, the arrangements of and relations between the parts or elements of something complex. So all these different parts that are happening in commerce, how do you engage with them as a person who just graduated? You gotta first start by possibly building an LLC, building some kind of infrastructure. How to start. Understand, number one, what is your mission, right? It's just like your artistry. So now we're separating your business from the artist. Jazzmeia Horn is the artist. who got together her stage presence, who got together all of those things that we just talked about. But now, the artistry of Jazz Horn, or Empress Legacy Records, did all of these things to be able to be where Jazzmeia Horn is now, okay? What are your goals? Remember we talked about what is it that you want to do? Are you an educator? Do you want to own a festival? What do you want to do? From that, you determine what your goals are. In 2 years, I want to develop an LLC and have 10 people working for me. In 5 years, I want to play 10 festivals. In 10 years, I want to be the greatest jazz saxophone in the world. In 20 years, I want to start, I'm just making up stuff, but this is, you need to definitely have at least 2 or 3 years between what your goals are. If your goals are, by next week, I want to play 251s to all the standards that I know, that's cool too. But you have to have something. Don't just sit around. Who's on your team? When I first started, I had a manager, a booking agent, and a record company. Now, I fired the person that I was paying 20% of all my money, which was my manager, and I hired people to be on my team to work as my operations team, how these big 5 Fortune companies operate. So I fired the manager, hired a public assistant, hired a personal assistant, hired a project manager, hired a tour manager, hired a social media manager. So all of these people do different things for me so that I can be here with y'all and teach workshops, but my business can still run. Okay?
I bet you it's less than 20% too.
Huh?
I bet you it's less than 20%.
No, it's still 20%. They each get paid 5%. It's 4 people. They each get paid 5%.
Yeah.
So I was paying one person 20% of every gig that I made for her to do all these different jobs that she wasn't necessarily accomplishing because it's so much for one person to do. And none of the jazz industry people are thinking this way because they're stuck in the jazz tradition. If you get outside of that box, you'll see that maybe Beyonce's manager or Lady Gaga's manager or Usher's manager or whoever is doing kind of similar to something similar to this versus this jazz realm. So if you want to be in a specific place, you can't think in a box. You got to get outside that box. The changes are out now. We're not playing 2/5s. Everything goes, right? Operation tools. Has anybody ever heard of Canva? Canva? Raise your hand if you have not. Okay, so Canva is what I'm using to show you this this presentation. Huh? Yep. Canva. Write that down. Have you ever heard of Hootsuite? Anybody ever heard of Hootsuite? That's like 2 people. Hootsuite. 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 Canva. When I first started 10 years ago doing these things on my own, those were my 2 biggest operation tools. Canva and Hootsuite. Why? Because I could design a flyer on Canva and post it on Hootsuite. Like today, and it'll post 3 weeks from now. You can program whatever you want so that you can spend, what I would do with Sundays, after all of my cooking and stuff was done, I would sit down on Canva and build for 2 weeks. So if I had a show tomorrow, a show 2 weeks from now, all of those shows had flyers and I would post them. So that way I can still do what I need to do and I don't necessarily have to pay anybody. Canva's like $6.99, well at the time it was like $6.99, it's like $12 or something now. It's expensive. It used to be free, right? But people getting hit now, so they're charging. And Hootsuite too. Hootsuite used to be free, and I think it's like $20 a month. But it's so worth it. You can post videos, you can post flyers, you can post, because right now the industry is very much about social media. So even if you if you want to be an educator, posting something about, okay, this is how you play the 2 of the 5 chord. Blah, 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 30-second video. Keep doing that. You have to be consistent at how you start whatever it is that you start, okay? Your question was, how do you get into, excuse me?
Yeah, what's the network?
The sinking, so I would say, has anybody ever heard of the Harry Fox Agency?
Yeah.
Okay, that's basically what I'm doing. Harry Fox. And then another thing is, I'm also a member of the Grammy board. And one of the things that's beautiful about being a member of the Grammy Board, I'm also a mentor of the Grammy Jazz Mentors program, so anybody can join. It's free. You just have to be a musician. That's it. You don't have to pay any money. You just have to be a musician and get accepted. And you have to be recommended by somebody who's already on the board. You can learn so much just by being a mentee. They give you like maybe 4 or 5 sessions in a month. You meet with that person over line, or if y'all decide to meet in person, y'all can. And you can learn so many things about so many things. It's so much opportunity out there with that in particular. All right, so that's another operation tool, as well as the Harry Fox Agency. Okay, what is your project's budget? How do you get money? How do you make money? That's what you want to know. What am I gonna do to get this money? What mechanism am I gonna use to get money? To be able to create a budget for my project, okay? Come on. 1, what do you want to do? Record an album, play festivals as a band leader, become an educator, right? We already talked about that. Goals, once you have decided on what your mission is, what your main focus is, how do I achieve them? So, example, my mission is to become a well-known musician. Goal 1, have excellent musicianship skills. That's obvious. You gotta be able to play, because nobody's gonna hire you if you sound like a machine. Build up a fan base. We talked about that too, and why that's important, because clubs won't hire you if you don't have a fan base. They don't care how talented you are anymore. It's all about social media. Be a good reputation. Build a good reputation in the industry. When you meet people, have that consistency in the way you talk, in the way you act, in the way you dress, in the way you think. That's important. You want them to remember you. You have to create a stamp. When you see that Nike check, you already know it's not gonna be too expensive, but it's not gonna be cheap. But you're gonna get good quality. What do they see when they see your brand? What is it that you have? What do you have to offer? Okay? 3rd one. Team. You cannot reach your mission and accomplish goals without a team. So this is what I have now, as I was talking about. Don't have that manager though. Right? How do you do that? Musicians, that's also on field, so that's important. You got an operations team that's in-house, but you on the field, right? That tour manager is also there. And then, this is important. Partnerships and sponsorships. Reach out to the Gap. Reach out to Zader. Reach out to Zildjian. Reach out to whoever. You gotta go out there and be hungry and do it. Don't just think, oh, well, I'm just a little somebody who plays drums over here. They'll never, you never know. You never know. You can't be afraid to reach out to people and make partnerships and sponsorships. And also go to those different jazz conferences. Go to Next Gen. Go to APAP. Go there. Even if you're not performing, don't think, oh, well, I'm not performing, so I'm not gonna go. Go. Especially if it's here. South by Southwest, go to those places and just run your mouth. Just talk to people. This is what I do. This is what I'm in the business of doing. Because most of the time, it's just a conversation. You buy somebody a drink and next thing you know, you in the door. Just because you were talking. You're just in the right place at the right time. All right? We already talked about operations tools. Social media is a big one. Digital distribution services. You guys know about something like Songkick. You heard of that? Okay. Anybody not heard of those things? Yeah, okay. So Songkick. What's another one? What did I use? What's that called? DistroKid, thank you. DistroKid.
DistroKid is the one I use too.
That one goes hard. DistroKid is the joint. Actually, my music right now is from DistroKid. That's my distribution company. So digital distribution companies help you to get your music on a large platform. iTunes, Spotify, whatever, Pandora, all those things. Digital distribution. BMI, ASCAP, CSAC. Everybody has heard of those companies, right? If you have not heard of those companies, raise your hand. Oh, we in a good shape. All right. Harry Fox Agency. GS1 system. That's the most important one. Has anybody ever heard of the GS1 system? If you have, raise your hand. Okay. Each person in this room has a social security number, right? The GS1 system is a social security number system for all the songs that exist in the universe. Every song that you know has its own GS1 code. They teach classes on the GS1 system because it's so integrated. It's crazy. The GS1 system. Each song has to be registered. So, did you know that if you put your music out and you call DistroKid and you say, hey, my name is Amanda Operations, and my new song, Comping for Vocalist, is coming out next week. I want you to put my song up into the industry. The first thing they're gonna ask you is, do you have any ISRC codes? You know what an ISRC code is? Okay. ISRC. That's the number that solidifies the song. So if Amanda Burdock's and Amanda Operations have the same song, each song is still gonna have its own separate ISRC code. That code may be 1234 QQRS 123. Her code may be 1234 QRSTT 1234. That is only one number that separates it. DistroKid or SongKick, their job is to put those ISRC codes into the GS1 system for you. If you already have your ISRC codes, then you obtain 90% of your money. If you do not have your own ISRC codes, you obtain 10% of your money, because DistroKid is going to go and register your ISRC, your song under their own ISRC codes, and you won't even know, you won't even be getting your money. So it's very important to register your music with the ISRC company first, and then go register into the GS1. Anybody not clear on that?
So
you contact, oh, sorry, you go.
So when you do like the copyright process and you like register it and copyright, is that separate? from
Yes,
there?
completely separate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go?
ISRC.gov.
Okay.
And then you would actually call DistroKid and.
You don't have to call them.
Oh, yeah.
Because what's gonna happen is when you go to DistroKid, it's gonna give you a prompt. It's gonna say, need ISRC codes? Like, it's like, can I fuck you up? Can I take your money? Do you know what this is? You don't? You click it, they're like, ooh. And 90% of your shit is gone. You don't even know. They don't tell you that. They're not gonna tell you. They're not even gonna tell you. They're just gonna take that money. You're gonna get 10%. You're gonna get like $30 a month. You're gonna be like, oh wow, that's better than what I've ever gotten. And you could even be getting $3,000. That could be 10%. You don't know. So it's best to do your own ISRC codes when you put your music up on these third-party platforms. That's very important. I didn't want to spend as much time on this, but I needed to make sure y'all understood this. Project budget. How much will it cost to run your company and project the production costs? That's something that people ask all the time. I would say to do an album today, you could do it with like $20,000. It's a lot, I know. It's a whole lot. But if you don't have that, the things that you need for your record, since we already answered these, I'm just gonna erase these. And then we can answer the other ones in a second. Okay, let's talk about production. Tunes. If you have your own tunes, and you don't have your own tunes, if you write your own tunes or you compose your own tunes, then you have to spend $0. If somebody's writing your tunes for you, or you have to pay publishing for someone else's tunes who already exist. Let's say you're singing some standards, you gotta pay publishing for that. So, let's say you paid, I don't know, somebody to write your arrangements. That can easily be somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000. Just for writing your arrangements for you. Depending on who it is. If you have somebody in the school that can do it for you, that's different. It may cost you maybe $1,500. Depending on who it is, right? So you could cut that cost down. Okay, tunes. Then you need the band. You gotta pay the cats. Ain't no getting over that. You gotta pay the cats. If it's students and somebody you know, you might come out like 5 stacks. Okay, if it's not somebody you know, if you're getting like Christian McBride, I don't want to say what his fee is, but whoever, that could cost a lot of money. Then you need an engineer. That might run you $1,000 a day. Let's say how many days you go into the studio. Let's see, studio, 3 days. I don't know, I'm just making up something. They might charge you $1,000 a day, that's $3,000. Plus the engineer's gonna charge you $500 a day, so. I'm just making up numbers, but this is close. What else? You gotta pay for food while you're in the studio, because you gotta feed the cats. I'll just say $1,000, because it's 3 days. What else? Transportation. You gotta make sure if your band is in town, they're good. If they're not in town, then that becomes an expense on this side. So already, with this side, we at 5, 8, 9. We at about this much. Ain't no telling. This is just you off the rip without using whatever and not having transportation. But off the rip, we at 10, 5. That's production. We haven't even gotten to post, like mixing and mastering and all that stuff. Okay? Once you mix and master, once you do the production, then you gotta go to post. Okay? So post-production. You need someone to mix it. How many songs you have? Standard songs right now, people do, if you're doing an EPK, something like that, it might be 5 songs. But if you're doing an actual record, Spotify, Songkick, all of them, they're not gonna accept your album if it's not more than 9 songs. They're gonna call it a press kit if it's less than 9 songs. So let's say you got 12 songs and he's charging, I don't know, $500 a song. How much is that?
6,000.
Okay, so $6,000 to mix it. And then he might charge the same thing, or maybe you have another person that's gonna master it, $6K. Then you need a publicist, because you need somebody that's gonna promote your stuff. So you can get 1 publicist, or you can get 2 publicists. My recommendation is 2, because you need one who's gonna do radio, which is something completely different than all the magazines and the news articles, and so these cats will cost you, they may do a 3-month campaign and it'll run you about 7 stacks. Each. What else you need?
And wait, so the publicist, are they typically hired for like a fixed period of time?
Yeah, that's why I was saying 3-month campaign.
Oh, okay.
That's like the standard. They like if your album comes out in March, they say we're gonna do January, February, or they will say December, January. They don't usually do December because of the Christmas holidays and all of that stuff. It's horrible. You don't want to start a campaign in December. So let's say your album comes out in May. They may say February, March, April. For them 3 months, we're gonna promote you to every single, the Billboard, the Jazz, New York Times, the Jazz Times, the whoever, the Chronicles, the whatever, all the people for 3 months for this fee. And if you get a good publicist, you're gonna be out there. If you get a good one, if they have connections. If they don't, you just lost 7K. Radio, same thing.
Because I've actually used this process we're about to meet with you.
Okay, cool.
And I don't have any idea like how to pick publicists.
Who do you like? What is okay? So one thing that I've done, whoever I like, I go see who their publicist is, go see who their manager is, go see who they whatever.
Yeah.
So if you like Reverend Porter, go to his website and see who all his people is. If you like whoever, I don't know, Jamie Cullum, go to his website and see who is, you know what I'm saying? One of the things that I did was kept consistently going to all these different festivals and talking to different people. So for my big band record, this was pennies. I hired 7 different publicists around the country because I didn't want to do what the jazz cats do and just hire the New York cats to do whatever.
Right.
I had somebody in Brazil for South America. I had somebody in Japan for Asia. I had somebody in Australia for all of Australia. I had somebody in New York for all of North America. I had somebody in South Africa for Southern Africa. I had somebody in the Congo for West Africa and everything around it. Because I wanted to make sure, because what I did was I saw my Spotify numbers. See See, that's the thing about these right here, these distribution companies. I saw my DistroKid numbers and my Spotify numbers, and I figured out from those analytics alone, who's listening to my music, where are they, what age are they? You need all those analytics, because from that, you can then use, you don't necessarily have to hire two of these people. You can only hire one if you're serious about the radio. And then what you can do for this is look at those analytics that you already have and create Facebook, Instagram ads. Remember we talked about that. That's one of the things that's necessary. That's one of those tools, that operation tools that you can use. So Facebook and Instagram ads can cost you $5 a day. You have $100 a month or $50 a month. You getting millions and thousands of people to come and see and view your. It just depends on how you work it. You really got to understand how to work the system. And what you do is just Google everything. You can sit there and just spend time. What is a sales funnel? What is a operation system? What is a, you know what I'm saying? To really be able to understand the industry and the business in that way. And then you don't even have to have, this is not even a cost occurred for you. Okay?
Now, is your social media manager also promoting you consistently on your social media?
Yes. Yep. Okay, cool. Before we get into, I'm gonna try to get into some of these questions, but we feel like this has been answered. Yes. Anybody know? Anybody does not feel like this question has been answered? You don't. Okay. How to hear yourself. All right. So let's go back. Okay. I'm just saying I can't. So when you hear yourself, let's say the band is super loud, right? You can tell them to calm down, or you can say, this person doesn't do well with me or this audience, so I'm not gonna hire this person again, right? That's just common sense. If cat's showing up and you paying them and they not doing what you tell them to do, fuck them. That's it. You don't have to do it. And so many musicians out there who's willing to play the gig. If you come to my gig and I'm paying you my hard-earned money and you're not gonna listen to what it is that I'm telling you to do, you have to go. That's it. If I'm a CEO of a company and I'm giving you your check every week, I'm not talking to you about what your duties are. You know what your duties are in this band, right? So it's a conversation that you have to have with them up front. If you have the womb to do that, I'm not gonna say the balls, because the womb is a little bit stronger than the balls. If you have the womb to do that, then you do it. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't, then it becomes, it's difficult, because you have to take control, no matter what, especially if it's your gig. Now, if you're on somebody else's gig, then you pull them to the side, hey, it's hard for me to hear myself. We already don't have an amp, whatever. Communication, the brother said it, the piano player. Y'all know how to communicate. Communication. Don't be afraid. You were so afraid to talk to me yesterday. I'm not trying to put you on blast, but I'm just saying, you were so afraid to speak to me yesterday. I'm human. My shit stinks, right? So if you gotta go to him and say, whatever you gotta say, don't be afraid. Confrontation sometimes happen. If it happens, then just walk the other way. That was not for you anyway. God is not a God of confusion. This music has God all in it. And you shouldn't be confused about, okay, well, how, ain't no confusion. If the person can't play, he, she, they, whoever cannot play it the way it needs to be played, then you gotta move on, okay? Does everybody understand that? Cool. All right, somebody asked,
All too well.
huh?
All too well.
Right,
You've been fired.
improvisation skills, what do you do? Okay, so for improvisation, let's talk about that. Can we have the band? I'm sorry, y'all know y'all been sitting back there like, damn,
We was learning.
I
We were taking notes.
Okay.
Business master.
So, okay. So, who wants to volunteer to play or sing? Come on. You kind of look like you wanted to, but you like, I don't really know who's about to sing. You okay? Okay. All right. What you want to sing?
Can we try something my first will come in B flat?
Come on.
B flat.
Okay.
Boy flat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't playing it deep.
Yeah, it wasn't, I was gonna sing it in B flat.
She said, how to combine and the song.
I'm gonna sing it. That's all.
It's too loud.
We'll find out.
It's not that bad. It's pretty good. Yeah.
I just had
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I don't know why I got so nervous. Okay.
You good?
Maybe I shouldn't have volunteered.
You good?
All right, cool.
So are you gonna improvise?
I can. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Me?
Why?
Because this is really far range. If I start
This is
any
B
lower,
flat? B flat,
yeah, I can go any higher or any lower. That's it.
Try C.
See?
Mhm.
All right.
I needed that.
Okay.
Where is it?
Friends will come someday.
Go back to the top. Some.
Someday.
You got that note? Someday. Keep going.
Someday my prince will
Hold on, don't
come.
look what you saying.
Someday my prince will come. Someday my prince will come. And how thrilling that moment will be.
What's wrong with that?
It's the top, all that.
Really?
Love is far away. That's
It feels weird to you?
it's right in my pistachio. I don't know if I should belt it or sing it in head. It's like, okay. what
But
gonna
is
do?
you got it versus what you was doing in B flat.
All right, I'll touch
Go back to
you. I'll
B
touch
flat.
you. I'll touch
Go
you.
back to B flat.
Okay.
Hear that and sing it. Go ahead.
Someday my prince will come. Someday my prince will come. And how thrilling that moment will be. When the prince of my dreams comes to me.
You still sound scared to me to get to that note. So I think it's just I think it's just I'm afraid to sing that note up there
Yeah,
instead of this isn't the right key.
okay. So,
But if you don't think that, I want you to be honest with yourself. What is it?
I think it's more so afraid like of singing that note. Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing because you got the note and
Mm,
you just afraid of it.
yes.
So let's talk about what this afraid is going. What's going on? What are you afraid of?
I guess cracking.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a weird like place for me. I'm not like really settled in that
Mhm.
part of my range. So I'm like, if it's come out bad, then I don't know.
Go back to C. Some we not just I just want you to sing it.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Some.
Someday my prince will come. Someday my prince
I want you
will
to
come.
get 3, 4 out of your head.
Okay.
We in church right now.
All right.
I need to feel the Holy Spirit.
Oh Lord. Okay. All right. Someday my prince will come. Someday my prince will come. And how thrilling that moment will be.
Hallelujah! That's it. I'm not even playing with you though, but I'm not joking. Look, I'm not joking at all.
All right.
So this is the belief, y'all, right? We just talked about, do you believe what makes you comfortable? So you gotta get over whatever that is about the note and cracking and voice and whatever. Billie Holiday wasn't thinking about no cracking, her voice cracked every other note. You know what I'm saying? So but let's lose that. Okay, let's get to, because we gonna answer this question about improv, but let's get to that. Go ahead, now you can sing it.
Okay, all right. Sing now.
See, gotcha.
All right. I gotta write a check for that.
So I don't want you to think that because it's jazz, you can't belt. This is your instrument. It's not nobody else's instrument.
Okay.
If it's a belt, it's a belt. If it's a Glock, it's a Glock. If it's a whatever it needs to be in a moment, this is your instrument. Nobody can tell you how to play your instrument because your body is unique. It's not your body is our body is our instrument as vocalists.
Okay.
We can't put it in a case and go drink and smoke and whatever and come back and then come back. We can't do that. So whatever feels comfortable for you, that's what you have to do. If it's a belt, it's a belt. And it just don't, you know what I'm saying?
Got it. Okay. Okay, cool. I guess advance on that. 1 quarter? Then I'll come in at the top. All right. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
What's that Prince think about? And let it ring, and then she's gonna play. So just someday my friends will come.
These are chords.
Someday my friends. Same chord.
Okay.
1,
Oh, Lord.
2,
That's
1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Not yet. Just listen to it. Same thing, over and over. What do you hear? Sing one note. Okay, stop. Spell the first chord in real position. Real position.
Position.
Spell it. You just
C.
spell it. Is that major, minor, or?
major.
Okay, next chord.
Is it dominant?
Yep. Next chord.
Major.
Next chord. Yeah. So it's one major, dominant, major, dominant. What's the difference between major and dominant?
Only the second.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can play whatever you want, as long as you don't play that dominant 7 over major, and you don't play that major over dominant.
Okay.
Let's
All
try
right,
the same 4 chords again. 1, 2, 5. Just listen.
Mhm.
you don't go on, until you don't know them four, you don't need to be singing the rest of the song, playing the rest of the song until you don't know those first couple of changes. Then go on to the next four, then go on to the next four. But you also can do this with the melody. I want you to do it with the melody so you can understand. Do the same thing you just did. One, two, three. Someday my prince will come. 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 And then it doesn't become an issue when you need to sing and you feel uncomfortable with where the note is. So now I want you to try it this slow. You did?
Yeah.
Okay, so do this right
Okay.
here. Just do that, what I just did.
Okay.
Someday my prince will come, and sing it wherever you feel it. He's gonna play it as many times as you need.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yep.
All right.
Mhm. You can use the mic.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll come after you do it 4 times, or
Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's your tempo?
I'll do it at the same time.
What's your count?
2, 3, 1, 2. Someday my prince will come. Someday my prince will come.
Yes.
Someday my prince will come. Someday my prince will come. Someday my prince will come.
Good. All right. So now I want you to play to the song, the whole song by yourself with the pianist in this tempo. And then I want you to take one chorus of just the melody, and I want you to take the second chorus of the solo.
Okay.
And I don't want you to think I'm trying to sing some bebop shit. I want you to think what I was just doing, I'm going to do that to improvise.
I
understand?
see. Yeah.
Let's do it again.
All right.
1, here we go.
So we're
3,
going on.
2, here we go. Move on from those 4. 1, 2, 3, 2.
Someday my prince will come, and I'll feel when that moment will be. When the prince of my dream comes to me,
Take your time.
he'll whisper, I love you. And he's still yes, sir, too. Though he's far away, I'll find out someday when the prince of my dream comes to me. Ba-doo, ba-doo-doo.
Good. So then, what I would have you to do is the same thing, but the second time around, you only start at the first beat. So all of your phrases have to land on the 1.
Okay.
And then you go around again. All your phrases have to land on the second beat, second measure, second beat of the measure.
Okay.
Then you do it again, third beat. Then you do it again, fourth beat. Then you do it again on the end of 1, end of 2, end of 3, end of 4. You understand? So that you can know where you are at all times. Does this make sense? Okay. Whew. How did that feel for you?
That was a pretty, I don't know how to word for it right now, but like, yeah. I never thought about like developing a solo in a way of like playing around with using the method, but what I'm trying to say, using that method of like improvising the melody, but taking that into
The melody is the
solo.
story.
Yeah.
You cannot lose the melody. That's the meat. That's the story. That's the whole, that's why they wrote the song. They wrote more than likely the melody, and the chord changes are fitting around the melody. Sometimes it was chords and more melodies, but for the most part, it's like, this is happening because of this melody. If the melody did not exist, then, yeah.
Yeah, give me perspective.
That's one way of doing it. Okay, I think we running out of time. I gotta get back home to my children. Let's see. What to listen to. Let's do this, just because I know you can find this on the internet. I don't mean to be rude, but you can find all my different, there's so many interviews that I've done. You can find out who my influences are. Number one or two, let me not do that. I would say the top three would be Rochelle Farrell, Betty Carter, and Pops. I don't know. But those are the top two. Let's do this, because I know this was pressing. And it was two people who asked this question, so only one of them is gone already. Okay. So talking about comping for a vocalist. So one thing that I appreciate is when you can stay out the way, but be aggressive. I don't even know how to explain that. Like, if a pianist can, because I just take off, and I don't have any frets or valves. As vocalists, there's no tonal center. We literally have notes that y'all don't have. So if you can keep me kind of like in a bubble, but let me still be free at the same time, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a pianist that knows the changes, knows the lyrics, because if you don't know the melody or the lyrics or the changes, then you really probably won't know where I am. And a lot of the time, I'm not the singing straight. I never sing nothing straight, not anymore. Most of the time I'm just playing because I just love to just explore how many times I can sing. Just like what we were just doing, I do this shit every day, all day. Just sit there and just figure out, east of the sun, east of the sun. Like all the time with every song I know, just sitting there, just figuring out how many different ways I can sing the melody. And because that's what helps me to memorize the chord changes and to understand where the chords are going. So then when it's time for me to improvise, I don't have to think about, oh, that's a 2/5 right there. I already know it's a 2/5 because I just played it, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm looking for. But do you want to come play piano?
Sure.
Okay, come on. Can you play for a little bit? What's the tune you like to play?
I think about the streets.
Okay, give me another one.
What's this thing called?
Sure. What key? Okay, so are you interested in coming for improvisation or coming for the melody?
It's fine for the melody. That's what
Okay, so let's try it. The tonal center is. That's not the tonal center, is it? Is the tonal center? Okay, all right. What is this thing? I know that, but you gotta tell me that's where it's going without, I gotta hear it. So let's go back. What is this thing called love? It's mystery. How can a fool of me? Good. Say that wonderful name. Okay, all right. So it's very easy to spell out things, but when you come in for a vocalist, I need all 10 of the fingers to be pressed so that I can hear exactly where I'm at. Because spelling it, that don't do no justice for me. I can't spell anything. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not hearing it like that. I'm hearing it as, what is the chord? What is the tonal center? That's why I asked you what was the tonal center. And you gave me the first chord. So now I'm thinking in a completely different key, because I don't have these. There's none of that for me. I'm just thinking like, where does it sit in my sound?
Yeah.
Let's try it again. From the top. So if you were gonna play this, if we were gonna play this at a show, what intro would you play for me?
I might just run the A,
Let me hear it.
first A.
Okay, so never give me the first note. That's my job. You don't have to give me the first note unless the singer is like, where are we? You done play all of this. Why would you play the melody again? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to just only play the melody. So give me another intro, but don't play the melody. That's enough. Right? What is this thing called love? You don't need to play too much. Let it ring. Let those chords ring a little bit and let me sing. It's like salsa dancing. The man is there, he's dancing, right? But he's just letting the woman do all this the shit, you know what I mean? It's a show. So like you want me to be out front if you're coming for me, if I'm the vocalist and if that's what the vibe is, right? So you try to play things to where you're embellishing, like it's like a beautiful woman. She's already beautiful, but when you put makeup on her, it brings her beauty to the forefront of what you're looking at. So do that with your playing. I'm going to listen to everything that you're playing, but I need you to set a foundation so that I can play the melody. Don't even try to emphasize the melody with what you're playing. Only play chords. Okay? Try it one more time. This funny thing wonderful day. You took my. Where are we?
I thought you were on the bridge.
I was.
Yeah.
You took my heart and threw it away. And so, not yet. Not yet. I'm gonna sing and sing till the clouds come home. Until I give you that next melody for the next melody, don't budge. You took my heart and threw it away. And so, not yet. And so I ask the Lord, heaven above, what is the same? Okay, I want him to watch you. Stand behind him. We had to change the key though. I saw you there, wonderful day. You took my heart, threw it away. And so I asked the Lord, heaven above, what is this? Did you see what he just did? Just that little bit.
Yeah.
You see, there was like a dialogue there. He did some stuff. He was like, wait, I'm gonna give it to you, I'm gonna give it to you. Okay, chord. And I said, call up. And he came back in with his thing. Reciprocity. We gotta give and take. Let's try it again so we can see. Give me something up top, something really beautiful. What is this thing? This funny thing called love. And who can solve its mystery? How can it make a fool of me? I saw you there. What a wonderful day. You took my threw it away. And so I asked the Lord, in heaven above, what is this thing? This funny thing. What is this thing? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Give it to me and show me that it's there. Put your foot down and say, this is where it is. But then sometimes I'm gonna say, move over. You know what I mean? It's just, it's really fun when I don't have to think about where the tonal center is because it's all laid down for me. With you, I was guessing. I never made the bridge because you only played one chord and you didn't give me more to be able to play with. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you want to try it again?
I would love to.
Okay.
Treat her like any other instrument. Like as piano players, we always forget that singers are musicians. And that's their instrument. You know, like if you had a saxophone player you were playing with, you wouldn't just, your job is not just to be like playing the same song at the same time in the same room as the other person, but with no dialogue. you guys are working together, especially someone like her, any good singer, any good musician. I don't want you to think of her as a singer, think of her as a musician. I mean, you guys are talking, you're reading the body language, all this kind of stuff. You would have one of those, you know, same thing. No different.
What is this thing called love? Funny thing called love. And who can solve its mystery? How can it make a fool of me? One wonderful day, you took my life and threw it away. And so I asked the Lord, what is this thing called love? So maybe walk, maybe walk. Would you have walked there?
I hate walking. I
You
think
hate
it's just the
walking?
most awkward thing.
It is awkward,
Man, why are you
but there
afraid?
has to be some kind of
Yeah, resume.
rhythm.
Yeah, there has to be something. I mean, Walter Miller talked about this a lot, because, man, I love the way he comes. He talked about, man, you can make a dance. Give it that bounce. But why are you playing like you're afraid of it, and then like there's no piano below, what is that, G below middle C, like the piano doesn't exist. But there's keys down there. You're not using them. She's not gonna bite you. Don't be afraid.
I might.
I don't care. But don't be afraid of her. You gotta give her support. She said, man, she's begging for support. This is like a conversation. She's trying to talk to you, and you are not talking to her.
Nope.
You're asking her, you're going, how was your day? And she tells you, oh my God, this happened, this happened, this happened. And you just shake your head. You don't give her any advice, input, any, you have to give her something. And the second half of the piano is still down there. Art Blakey talked about, man, I heard an interview one time, he was talking about like jazz is intensity. Intensity, intensity, intensity. Intensity in the ballads and intensity in an up-tempo song. And intensity doesn't have to mean like, it's like, there's the intensity of making love and a child being born, and there's the intensity of a fight. Both intense moments call for different things. It's the same thing. You apply that same rationale the way you're playing. You don't have to, intensity doesn't mean you're beating the daylights out of the piano, but you gotta give her that she's trying to talk to you. Use the whole piano.
You know any of the vocalists in this room?
Yeah.
Maybe ask her to come by, or not necessarily to your house, but like maybe you guys could do a session or something,
Yeah.
and just say, hey, I want to practice playing with vocalists. That's something y'all don't do. We don't communicate, but y'all don't call us to do nothing. My report came out there. Y'all cool us. I hope I answered your question. It was hard too, but, okay, cool. All right, y'all, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.